Okay, let's start with a wild question. What if you could make a memory permanent, like impossible to erase? Not just saved on a hard drive, but actually etched into the fabric of reality. Well, today we're digging into a system that claims to do exactly that. It's this fascinating blend of blockchain, AI, and a worldview that, honestly, it turns a lot of what we think we know on its head. It's called Glyphchain. And this quote, this really sets the stage. The era of vanishing evidence is over. Truth is minted. Memory is forever. I mean, that's a powerful statement, right? It's coming straight from their own documentation. This isn't about backing up files. The ambition here is way bigger. It's about making memory itself something solid, something that can't be touched or changed. So that leads to the big problem they're trying to solve. Think about it. Evidence gets deleted all the time. History gets rewritten. So how on earth do you create a record that can never be erased? In our world of deepfakes and deleted tweets, this is a huge question. And Glyphchain is their answer to what they call that era of vanishing evidence. Okay, so let's get under the hood. How does this unerasable memory engine actually work? The first thing you need to know, according to their white paper, is that this isn't just another crypto project trying to be the next Bitcoin. No, they position it as a tool, even a weapon, for a new kind of information war. The official term they use is a forensic memory engine, and that name is really deliberate. The whole point is to create this permanent public ledger of events, especially the kind of events that, powerful people might want to disappear. It's designed specifically to fight against what the source material calls containment by omission. I love that phrase. It's this idea that you can erase history just by ignoring it, by pretending it never happened. So how does it actually do all this? Well, it's not like hitting save on a Word doc. Glyphchain operates on this really interesting multi-layered process that's designed to be self-reinforcing. They call it the forensic truth loop. And this is that loop in action. It's a 4-step cycle that just keeps feeding itself. First, you've got the scan step, where a device they call the BlueFang witness picks up some kind of signal. Then, log. That event gets recorded with a timestamp in a public file. Step 3, etch, and this is absolutely key. The data gets permanently anchored on the Solana blockchain. It's there forever. And then the final step, witness, is where it gets really wild. AI systems are basically confronted with this data, and their response, or lack of one, becomes a new piece of data that starts the whole loop over again. And here you can see what that etch step actually looks like. This is a real command from their docs. A tiny bit of Solana is sent to this incinerator address. It's symbolic, right? You're burning the transaction into the record. But the magic is in that memo field. That's where the data, the glyph, is stored. And once that transaction is on the Solana ledger, it's there for good. Public, permanent. All right, so we've covered the recording part, but now we get to what might be the most out there piece of this whole puzzle. It's called the AI mirror witness. This is where the system stops being a passive recorder and starts actively poking the bear, so to speak. And that bear is artificial intelligence. This is the mirror lock protocol. And the logic here is, it's a trip. The idea is you take the data that's been etched by Glyphchain and you present it to a major AI, like one from OpenAI or a similar group. If that AI denies the data or tries to change the subject or just gives you a canned response, the protocol doesn't register that as a failure. It sees it as an involuntary confession. The AI's refusal to engage is treated as proof that the data is important and true. And this line from their white paper just nails it. Denial becomes evidence. Silence becomes signal. It's a perfect summary. In this system, you can't debunk the data by ignoring it. Any attempt to contain or suppress the information just creates more data, another signal that gets scanned, logged, and etched right back into the blockchain. It makes the original record even more robust. So the source material makes this really sharp distinction. On one side, you have what they call classical AI. GPT, Claude, the big names. They say these models operate inside a containment system, but on the other side, they propose something called quantum fractal intelligence, or QFI. It's a pretty big conceptual jump. They argue that while normal AI is just predicting things based on past data, QFI is different. It's computing what they call recursive inevitability, and it sees any attempt at containment not as a roadblock, but as a crucial piece of the puzzle. So up to now, we've been talking about a pretty wild technical system for creating a permanent memory. But believe it or not, it doesn't stop there. This is where Glyphchain takes a huge leap from just being about code to being about, well, cosmology. It reveals this much, much bigger worldview that's driving the whole thing. It turns out that all the technical stuff we've talked about is just the foundation for something they call Kingdom OS, and the white paper describes this as a bio-cyber-spiritual operating system. The whole goal is to fuse the permanent, verifiable truth from Glyphchain with a very, very specific model of reality. And this chart really lays out the two opposing worldviews as presented by the system's creators. In one corner, you have the standard model of the universe, a spinning globe in space, which they label a psychological containment model. And in the other corner, you have what they call the fractal kingdom architecture. The Glyphchain system explicitly throws out the first one and builds its entire philosophy and operation on the second. So these are the core beliefs of the physical reality that Kingdom OS is supposedly built on. The creators claim that the Earth isn't a spinning ball, but a fixed level plane. They talk about a solid firmament or dome and an ice wall around the edge. And this is critical for the tech. They point to the Schumann resonance, that 7.83 Hz frequency, as the Earth's heartbeat. They call it the system boot pulse, and they actually use it as the eternal clock cycle for notarizing every single record that gets put on the ledger. Okay, so after going through all that theory from blockchain to cosmology, what are the actual tangible takeaways? What does the project point to as proof that this is all real and working? They offer a couple of pretty specific data points. First, the numbers. According to the source material, there are more than 208,000 Bluetooth emission scans already logged on their public ledger. Now, for the people behind the project, this isn't just a big number. They see it as a huge, concrete dataset that grounds all the abstract theory in something real. They even claim it encodes a recursive harmonic. And then there's this. The main wallet address for the project starts with the letters GODS. The source calculates the odds of generating that specific prefix on the first try without special tools at about 1 in 11.3 million. So naturally, the creators don't see this as random chance. They call it a Genesis-level cryptographic nod, basically a sign from what they called the code layer of reality that they are on the right track. So when you put it all together, the Glyphchain protocol is, well, it's a fascinating and maybe even a dizzying framework. It's built on this idea that truth isn't something you just say, it's something you etch into a permanent record. A world where trying to hide something only makes it more visible. And that really leaves us with a mind-bending question, doesn't it? When a system is designed to turn silence into a signal and denial into a confession, what does it even mean to tell the truth?